think it's mistakes that are made everywhere, and we come across them here as much as anywhere else. So it's, dressing for colour and not for shape, or for shape and not for colour. It's not realising what is good about their body, so they dress and they cover the good and the bad because they're just trying to cover the bad. So someone who hates their tummy maybe takes tops that cover their boobs and tummy so they lose their waist. These things happen everywhere. So there's nothing that's really prevalent to Poland. As Susannah says, it's the positive thing she loves.
Which I really have noticed is that amazing eyes. You all have amazing eyes. I'm looking at all of you. Even the boys have amazing coloured eyes, just really interesting coloured eyes, and you all have extraordinary skin.
Yeah.
And again, I'm looking at all of you. You have the most beautiful skin.
I don't know if it's the water or what.
You do have a great fondness for a kind of brassy blonde dye, which a lot of women have had. And you also, it either goes that way, where it's a brassy blonde, or it's jet black. And those two colours are a nightmare for us to change because it takes ages. We have to strip the hair. So we're not just looking at the clothes. It's about, everything that we can change about a woman. The things that we can't change, we reproportion. But the things we can change, we do.
What about the attitude? I mean, the psyche, the
Fabulous.
self-esteem?
Self-esteem is one of the highest we've come across, actually, in terms of women's sense of themselves. When we've come across women with very vulnerable stories, maybe something really tough has happened, they've had, their husband has beaten them up, or they've, come out of some kind of traumatic situation. But aside from those few stories, women have a great pride in themselves, and it's very nice to see it. So a lot of the time we're, giving information that they take like a sponge because they just want to know, how do I do this? How can I change it? And it's really refreshing to have a woman who's like saying, okay, I just want the information.
And there's a real warmth about Polish people, which we love. And, we have worked in a lot of countries. I'm not going to name one particular country, but I'm thinking about it in my head where it was completely the reverse of that. So we love, the warmth of the Poles, and we found that in Israel as well. And that makes our job so much easier because, we warm to the women we work with so much more quickly.
Okay, how do you feel when people judge you, your style?
It's a part of the job, and, it's going to happen. And it's some days you look at it, and if you're feeling lousy about yourself and you see there's a cross by something in a magazine, you think, well, they might have had a point because I just woke up that day and what drug was I on? And other times you think, that person doesn't like us anyway, so whatever happens, they'll make a cross. But I think even though it is very important that when we meet women, they think we try hard and we do what we suggest. We are still real women, we still make mistakes, we still grapple the balance between what suits us and what's in fashion. I will always want to wear what's in fashion, and Susannah will say to me, hey, you don't have the legs for that, darling, or whatever. So
you're too old.
Or I'm too old, yeah, it's one now. So we have each other to bounce off, which is great.
What type of women do you like best for makeovers? Have you ever had
There's
any
no
hopeless
type.
cases?
Never had a hopeless case. I mean, I think Trinny and I both like different things. I love a vulnerable woman who has had a tough time, and I feel I want to champion her cause and give her strength. And there was an amazing girl yesterday, Magdalena, who I really bonded with, and she'd had a very tough upbringing. This was in Krakow, but she lives in Warsaw actually, and she'd grown up with an abusive alcoholic father, and as a small child she'd been like the go-between between her mother and father and had kept them apart, so she'd never had the opportunity to grow up. And one day she just looked down and realised that she had tits, and that she was 27 years old and her whole life up until that point had passed her by. And so it was giving her the courage. She had no friends, not one friend. Her only friend was a pen friend who lives in Hamburg. So it was giving her the confidence to say, you know what, I can go out and make friends, I can move on from home, I can move on from my past, and it was giving her a completely new identity. And she transformed emotionally. I mean, she looked great because she's a very pretty girl, but she transformed emotionally, and that was wonderful to see.